Hello and welcome. You are watching UATV News with me, Ksenia Bugay. Let's start with the latest developments. Ukraine helps citizens of other countries to leave Afghanistan. Minister of Foreign Affairs of Ukraine, Dmytro Kuleba, wrote about this on his social network page. He noted that 80 residents of 5 countries flew away from Kabul, captured by the Taliban, together with 8 Ukrainians aboard a Ukrainian plane.
We
started looking in advance for ways to evacuate our citizens. This happened when we saw that the Taliban started a full-scale offensive, and therefore, at the time of their approach to Kabul, we have already had an option of how to take out Ukrainian citizens by plane, which at that time was in Kabul. But the humanitarian situation was critical. Therefore, in addition to citizens of Ukraine, we also took on board citizens of other countries.
Construction and medical materials are what people constantly need on both sides of the contact line in Donbas in eastern Ukraine. International organizations help civilians to survive in difficult conditions. This year, the UN Refugee Agency sent about 100 trucks with humanitarian aid to Donbas. Georgy Senikidze, head of agency's office in Slovyansk, told us about it.
Already this year we were able to transport more, that is, about 100 trucks of humanitarian aid. And we're going to continue. There are needs and we are preparing and are engaged in this laborious work on both sides.
Thousands of Crimeans who gave up their Russian passports after the Russian occupation may lose their land. Vladimir Putin, by his decree, banned the citizens of Ukraine and other countries from owning land plots in most of the peninsula. And now many of those who were forced to leave the occupied Crimea find online advertisements for the sale of their land. My colleagues will tell you more.
Olga and Volodymyr are artists. They used to live in the town of Taraz in Donetsk region. They also had a small summer house with garden and workshop in the Crimea. There they painted pictures, but after the occupation of the peninsula by Russia and the outbreak of hostilities, the couple could not stay in any of their homes because of their pro-Ukrainian position. They moved to the city of Ivano-Frankivsk in western Ukraine. Paintings they managed to take from the Crimea remind them of the picturesque views of Cape Fioland.
This is our shore. This work makes us feel all warm inside. We'll never sell it, even if someone asks to do it.
But the largest number of the paintings remained at the summer house in the occupied Crimea. For more than 2 years, Olga and Volodymyr have not been able to get to the peninsula to pick them up. Occupation authorities have established strict entry rules, and now their property can also be taken away from them. Olga shows that their land plot was put up for sale.
They set such a ridiculous price. Here is the text. This is our address. Someone wrote that there are many fruit trees on a land plot, and we really have a very beautiful garden. It is also written that there are documents, but it's not true. I have all the documents. They could only make some fake Russian documents.
The artists add that the situation is aggravated by Putin's decree, which prohibits everyone except Russian citizens from owning land in the occupied Crimea. Thus, 12,000 people in the occupied peninsula may lose property. 90% of them are Ukrainians. Both the European Union and Ukraine recognized this decision illegal.
This step, this decision of the President of the Russian Federation is an additional element of forcing our citizens to take a Russian passport. The second is a kind of protection of conditional interests as an occupier state, because the Russian Federation is not interested in Ukrainians owning their land. This is a very brutal manifestation of human rights violations and international law as such. And this is actually one of the arguments that we broadcast and continue to broadcast both within the framework of the Crimean platform and in bilateral negotiations.
The occupation authorities of Crimea seized the land before through the so-called pocket courts. During the years of occupation, almost 4,000 people were deprived of ownership of land plots and buildings. Experts from the Regional Center for Human Rights and the Ukrainian Helsinki Human Rights Union analyzed these cases in a thematic review, Crimea Without Rules, Occupied Property. Lawyers say the peak was in 2017, and decisions were taken collectively in 20-30 minutes according to the same scheme.
Prosecutors presented evidence that there is no information in the archives about the originals of the documents on the basis of which the Ukrainian authorities at one time issued the land to our citizens. And respectively, such decisions were not made. The archive is under the jurisdiction of the occupation authorities. It passed into the jurisdiction illegally. We do not know how it happened. All the documents were either transferred or taken away.
At present, public organizations are preparing class action lawsuit against Russia in the European Court of Human Rights in order to defend the property of Ukrainians in the occupied Crimea. Reported by Vadim Kramer and Yulia Krychkova, UATV News.
Russia is deploying nuclear weapons in the occupied Crimea, and this is a global threat to the entire world. According to Foreign Minister Dmytro Kuleba, in the future, Ukraine will do everything to contain such activity. According to Ukrainian intelligence, since 2016, missile launchers capable of carrying a nuclear charge have been from time to time observed in the occupied peninsula.
Ми давно порушували питання про те, що
We have been raising the issue of nuclear-related activity in the occupied Crimea for a long time, and we inform our partners about this. The nuclear issue, the deployment of nuclear weapons, is not a local, not even a regional, but a global issue, a global threat. We'll use all possibilities, including the influence of other nuclear states on the Russian Federation, in order to restrain such activity.
As of the 16th of August, 417 cases of coronavirus were recorded in Ukraine. 31 children and 10 health workers were infected. Kyiv hit the leader in the number of cases registered. 59 people received a positive test. The police are considering three main versions of the death of the mayor of the city of Kryvyi Rih, Kostantin Pavlov. This was announced by the head of the national police in the Dnipropetrovsk region. The police are studying in detail the video recordings from the cameras in Pavlov's house, but the police did not comment. Earlier, this video was posted on some Telegram channel. It shows that a man who looks like Kostantin Pavlov. The man smokes, writes someone, and then shoots himself. However, journalists know that the time and date on the cameras were changed, and a fragment was cut from the video.
Був зроблений детальний аналіз.
A detailed inspection of the place was made and analysis of cameras was also made. Today we are considering three versions. This is murder, suicide and careless handling of weapons. As for the weapon, a comprehensive examination has been assigned according to the request. Molecular samples will be taken there and capillary patterns if possible.
To remind, 48-year-old Kostantin Pavlov was found dead in his house with a gunshot wound on Sunday, the 15th of August. He was elected mayor of Kryvyi Rih, a city in central Ukraine, which is also the hometown of Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky, last December. Peculiarities of interaction with local businesses and attraction of international donors. The Prasovaysko village territorial community in southern Ukraine has set a successful example. For 3 days, representatives of the civil and military administrations of Donetsk region and public organizations of the Zaporizhia region were exchanging experience. More details in the following report.
The Prasovayskaya territorial community in southern Ukraine united 4 former village councils and 5 settlements. Its area makes now 40,000 hectares with 4,500 people living there.
Our villages are far from the regional center. It's such a territory which have not seen funds for capital construction for 25 years. Repairs were not made, nothing was renovated. There was a population flow.
The community's budget was not enough to restore everything that was abandoned. They started initiating projects and attracting international donors.
In recent years, we have attracted about $750,000 from other sources rather than the state budget. Last year, our community budget amounted to $1,700,000, of which $950,000 are guaranteed for utility payments. For the salaries of the employees of communal and public offices, that is only $750,000 remain for development for a year.
In addition to international donors, they found a common language with business representatives. Their taxes go to the community budget. This made it possible to replace the water supply system, repair clinics, and restore the heating system. And the main thing, they say, they've managed to make the Prasovayska community attractive for tourists.
During this season, apartments are booked in advance. Even in February, guests planning a vacation every year. They are already booking willingly. They are planning their vacation 100% in advance.
Due to the temporary occupation of the Crimean peninsula, many residents of the Prysivashska territorial community were forced to change their profession.
At present, because of this situation particularly, no one is engaged in vegetable growing. Most of the people who were engaged in growing, they went into the tourism industry. We began creating green estates and sell some amounts of agricultural produce.
The Administrative Services Center operates in the territorial community as well, and here one can do more than only paying some bills.
Our center provides about 190 administrative services, the most necessary and needed on the territory of our village council. Besides, at the moment, negotiations with the Justice Ministry are underway regarding additional services for parents.
The local officials invited their colleagues, representatives of the military and civil administrations of the Donetsk region and public organizations of the Zaporizhzhia region to share the experience.
Using the example of the Prysivashska village territorial community, the Marinka and Berdyansk communities can learn how to cooperate. They have projects that are aimed at the medical sphere. This is the reconstruction of the local first aid station and other small projects that have been supported by donor organizations for the arrangement of public spaces. There are also projects for the repair of kindergartens.
The participants of the training say they will try to repeat the experience of their colleagues in their communities.
We'd like to learn a lot from them. We set this goal a long time ago. We are a little bit different from Kherson as we have a problem with jobs. This is the city of Marinka, a frontline city. We will conduct conferences with different countries and there will be municipal ties.
The training on the exchange of experience lasted 3 days within the frameworks of the United Nations Peace Building and Recovery Program, with the support of the Department of the Ministry for Reintegration of the Temporarily Occupied Territories of Ukraine in Donetsk region and with the financial support of the European Union. Reported by Vadim Kramer and Anastasia Lisova, UATV News.
Ukrainian strongmen competed for the title of the strongest. The Ukrainian truck pulling championship was held in Kyiv on weekend. More than 20 strongmen from all over the country participated in it. Our correspondents have also attended this championship.
23-year-old Bogdan Ksenchuk is a newcomer to the strongman sport. In some 2 years, he has achieved considerable results.
I'm in the top 4th in the tournament, the strongest man of Ukraine, so we are moving a little bit. We pull everything, we have big bags and dumbbells, the shells that in fact are not used in gyms.
Serhiy Bogdan became interested in this sport after 30. The man came to the tournament from Severodonetsk of Luhansk region. There, in everyday life, he works for the patrol police, and the strongman sport is his hobby.
The championship of the patrol police was held in 2019. I participated in it. I liked it, and in the end, I found myself in this sport. My bosses contribute a little to my routine, so I serve, and after the service, I train. They allow me to participate in the competition.
This is the 4th truck pulling championship held in Ukraine. This time 22 strongmen from different cities of the country took part in it. The athletes competed in 3 exercises.
The first is to pull the truck weighing 8.5 tons. The second exercise is to pull the truck in a team, and the third exercise is arm-the-arm. That is to pull the whole road train weighing 12.5 tons while sitting on the ground.
2-time world champion Vasil Virastuk judged and instructed the participants of the championship. According to him, the strongest man competition becomes more popular every year and attracts more and more participants.
This competition, namely the truck pulling championship, always ends a little unexpectedly, because the leaders of the season are not always the winners. Here among the participants I see people who are patrol policemen, the military, and they participate in our competitions at professional level.
Lviv citizen Volodymyr Kulimko won the truck pulling championship. He was presented with a cup and a cash prize from the organizers. Reported by Vadim Kramer and Yulia Bardish, UATV News.
That was our final story for today. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned. More updates on our official website, YouTube, Facebook and Twitter pages.